What did Christina Perry say about arms? Arms is about the fight between your heart and your mind. Your heart wants to be loved, but your head is always telling you reasons not to be with him or her. Trauma, hurt, or how you are not worth the love. It's about the struggle and finally giving in when you're wrapped in their arms. Then you get it. Then you feel loved and loved ones. Aww. That feels like such a again like an innocent thing to say. It's interesting. Like I'm just thinking about like being in high school and like I think like when we're young, like I definitely had this, like the naive innocence of like young love, like before you've been betrayed or cheated on or your heart's been shattered. It's like, like go back to high school and just think of like the first times you were ever in love. You know what I mean? It's like, it's such a wild time. It's like, you feel like, love is the most important thing. Like if we just love each other, like, you'll get these cliche things. Like, it's like, if we love each other, we can get through anything. You know what I mean? These like cliched sayings or ideas, but like they're naive to a degree. Like they're definitely naive. But they're also like beautiful in a way. They're very pure. And like, sadly, I think a lot of the time in young love, like neither of you know who you are yet. Like you're like, what, 15, 16, 17 years old. Like you don't know what you want to do with your life yet. You don't know where you fit into the world. You don't truly know who you are. You're still trying to fit in, like high school and like teenage years are so tribal. You know what I mean? Like I've always thought that it's like packs of wolves. You know what I mean? All these cliques, all these tribes. The nerds, the geeks, the scene kids, the jocks, the chess club, I'm thinking of the theater kids, like the musicians, the arts, the kids who are in the arts. Is like you have all these tribes and everyone's like trying to find their tribe. They're trying to fit in. And it's like, friendship and your community is everything. And it's just interesting, like the human journey where like, as you get older, as you go through your 20s, as you go through your 30s, you go on the inward journey. You start to ask yourself, am I actually resonant with my friends, with my friend group? It's just funny. Like when you're in high school, it's like the bar for what it's like, everything is like about loyalty in an interesting way. It's like, it's all about like, oh yeah, we're going to stick by each other forever. Right. There's like naive love. There's naive loyalty. And not saying there's anything naive about loyalty, but it's not self-reflective loyalty. It's not actually questioning, do I have the same values as these people? Are we really aligned? Are we going in the same direction? Like, are we, you know what I mean? It's like, and then life happens. And then as you go on your own journey, you end up moving, you end up, having a family, getting married and, like starting your career and all these things. Like you really, and like things fall away, you know what I mean? And like going back to love, it's like, to me, it's funny because after like, me, I've been betrayed. I've had my heart shattered multiple times. I think after it happened about 2 or 3 times in a row, I just kind of like closed off, and I'm in the process now of like opening my heart back up. And I had been for a while, and it's constantly opening up more and more and more. And it probably will end up being a whole lifetime journey for all of us, right? But it's just like interesting how when you're young, you think that love can conquer everything. And that if you just love each other enough, you can get through anything. You can get through a long distance relationship. She can go to college. You can go to different colleges and you'll be fine if you just love each other enough. You know what I mean? It's like, and then it's funny because then, I remember my closest friend in college, Ryan, that happened to him. You know, like him and his girlfriend went to two different colleges. He went to my college, my university, and they had this long distance relationship for 6 months, and then she cheated on him. And I think it was nuts. I think he went to surprise her, and I think he found her with like another guy or something. And it's just like, I remember how dark that was for him. He literally like changed after that. He became like a different person. Like he was so open-hearted. He was such a romantic when he was in that relationship. And then it was so interesting. He was monogamous. He was romantic. He would, you know, surprise her all the time. He would drive hours to her campus. You know, he'd come back in the middle of the night. Like he, you know, it was just wild. And then when she betrayed him, you know, he started becoming like polyamorous, like kind of sleeping around with women. Like, I don't know if he was sleeping around with women, but like he was just like with tons of women all the time. Like his vibe changed. It's like he kind of became a different person. Me and him stopped becoming friends. Actually, he was like my best friend. He was my best friend. You know, like so many late night conversations. Just, I remember like, yeah, when he was dealing with the betrayal, like we'd just be up to like 2-3 a.m. just talking, you know, and you know, he'd sometimes just start crying or something. You know what I mean? Especially when he was drunk. We'd go to we'd go to parties and we'd come back and he'd just be kind of like open his heart to me. As you do when you're drunk. And it's just like, it's just watching this guy just descend. Yeah. And again, like what I'm getting at is just like, when you're young and naive and you think love can like conquer everything, like there's such a beautiful innocence to that. Like he was at his best when he had that open heart before he was betrayed. You know, me, like when I was, I don't know, 15, you know, like we all had our shit. Like I did stupid shit all the time, but I don't know. I think there was something beautiful about the purity of my feelings. Like how open-hearted I was. How like I would love with every ounce of my being. Yeah. And then it's like you get betrayed and you lose that open-hearted naivety. You lose that ability to like love fearlessly, you know? And then it's like you gain wisdom, you know, after a lot of the time after your heart's broken, you gain wisdom, you figure out who you are, you start your career. It's like you gain all these things, all this self-knowledge, but like you lose your heart. It's almost like this like thing that we all do. Like, I don't know many people that have been able to get through life unscathed around their heart. And it's like, and I think like, you know, that's the second chapter of life is like after your heart gets shut down. And as you find yourself and you go on your hero's journey, I think then life becomes this journey of like coming back and like opening up your heart again, like accepting that you've been hurt, accepting that life will hurt you, accepting that people will betray you, accept like, yeah, you know, I was betrayed twice when I went to Mexico 2 years ago, twice by two really close friends. And I still notice, how discerning I am now in relationships, friendships, any relationships. It's like, it blindsided me so much. It was so, just came out of nowhere. And I remember I just went to Mexico a couple weeks ago, and I became really close with this woman. And we just had this like really, really deep relationship. And I remember like, I just got terrified, you know, like, cause it was like, we were just friends, but it was like just moving. It was getting really emotionally intense really quick. Like we were sharing very deep things with each other. And it just like reminded me of being betrayed by Roberta when I was in Mexico 2 years ago. Because so many things echoed that other friendship. And I just, like, I think these are important to go through. I think betrayal is important to go to. Is like learning how to like be discerning and learning how to be responsible with your heart, but also finding a way to balance that with still having like an open heart and knowing who to share that with. You know what I mean? And like kind of like testing people in a way too. Just like knowing if people are emotionally stable, like knowing if people, yeah, those two people that betrayed me, like were not emotionally stable. You know, one of them was definitely not emotionally stable, and the other I thought was, but you know, it's instead of talking to me about some, I don't know, insecurities that were coming up or challenges that were coming up with them, like he instead just went behind my back and stabbed me in the back. And it's just like, you know, when that happens, like, yeah, it creates a trauma response where you're just like now like on high alert. And again, it's like, it's that balance of these things are good. They keep you safe. They keep you from being re-traumatized until you have the internal strength to get through life. And I think it's like, it's developing the strength and the courage to develop so much self-love, which you don't have when you're in high school. You don't have a lot of the time. People don't even have self-love until they're like on their deathbed. You know what I mean? A lot of people die without, like my grandpa died without loving himself. Both my grandpas did. Like all my grandparents died before loving themselves. You know, they had so much abuse and trauma, right? And it's like, yeah, it's just interesting. I think life is about developing self-love so that when you do find the right person, you can fearlessly open your heart to love with that person. And be discerning of like, hey, like, okay, like I've vetted you, like I can feel like you've done the work. You've developed enough self-love and integrity that you won't stab me in the back if things get tough or you get insecure or something happens in life where, I don't know, it gets competitive, right? So I think like all those things, it's like, yeah, like you have that wide open, naive, open heart when you're young, but you haven't developed any sense of self-love. You haven't developed any sense of power, strength, courage, like a real grounded strength and conviction. And so it's so easy to shatter our hearts. And that's why like all of us get shattered hearts, because we have no internal strength yet. But then it's like all of us get hurt so early that, I don't know, like it just makes me think about like parenthood. Like, and you know, my children in the future, like one thing I want to do with them is like, how can I help them develop self-love and internal strength, hopefully before they get their heart shattered for the first time. Like that would be like my mission, is like, how can I help you know who you are? And like, maybe it's impossible. Like the prefrontal cortex doesn't finish growing until 25. And people, it's just like, no one knows who they are yet at that age. But I'm like, I don't know, like, it's just kind of like a hypothesis of mine. I'm like, can you develop resilient kids so that when the inevitable happens, they don't close off? Yeah. So anyway, all this was about this comment about, you know, her talking about, you know, when you're wrapped in their arms, then you get it. Then you feel loved and love wins. It's like, yeah, that's the naive love where you still might not know who you are, but the connection, it's interesting. If you guys want to check out another clip from this episode, click here. And if you want to check out more clips on this topic, click here. And if you want to check out the full episode that this clip is taken from, you can click the link in the description below. And that's it. So I'll see all of you in the next one.